Hello, welcome to Cool Discussions. That's Barry. I'm Chris. Today we're going to talk about referendums, whether or not we should actually have them in Canada like they do in the States.
Or in Europe, because they just had a referendum called the Brexit or whatever. Brexit, whatever, Brexit. I thought it was some oil company. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh, what's some oil company doing over there? And then I was like, oh, they're
British exit, yeah.
Oh, they're succeeding from the European Union. Oh, I get it.
A little different, but the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, he ran on a platform stating that if he got elected, one of the things he would do would be electoral reform. Now, what he's done is he set up a little cabal of people to look into this reform to see what other systems that we can use to do elections with. Now, what he had originally done was it was a 10-person panel, and on this panel he had 6 Liberals, 4 Conservatives. And then the NDP made a brouhaha in the Commons because they're like, well, we're not represented. You know, we had a high percentage of the popular vote, and we're not even on the chair to talk about electoral reform. So it's kind of like, after a little bit of pressure, he actually said, okay, fine, whatever. He put 5 Liberals on the board, 3 Conservatives, 2 NDP, a Bloc member, and the Green Party leader. Some Miss May? I don't know what her first name is, sorry. Elizabeth May, actually. So now they have 18 months to figure out what kind of electoral reform.
And they're probably making more money
they
for
do.
being on this.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're on another panel. Here's some more money.
It's true. When MPs get on to panels, they actually get a pay increase for...
Gets my goat.
I kind of see it, but I don't. It should be... All MPs should be part of a panel, at least one, because that's what they were elected for. If they're having to do extra work, fine. That's what they're meant to be paid. That's why they make a hell of a lot of money. You know, some MPs, depending on how long you've been an MP, can make upwards of $125,000 a year. So you're in power for at least 4 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a lot of money.
Almost half. That is $500,000 in some cases.
Oh yeah, you want a referendum? Do a referendum on the salaries of MPs and politicians.
Well,
but that's a whole different topic.
That's always a different topic. So, the question is that a lot of people are saying is like we should put the election to a referendum. We should have a referendum in Canada asking the question: do you want to change the first past the post system? Now, for those of you who don't know,
I know what it means.
Do you?
Yeah, it's the first one with there's a threshold of number of votes that you need. The first one there wins.
Exactly.
So in Canada, because most of our population is in Ontario, by the time you get past Ontario, you already know who won the freaking election in a federal election 90% of the time.
Actually in Canada it's a horrible system in this regards. Is all you have to do is win most of Ontario and most of Quebec, and you control.
Because 75% of our population is probably over there.
No. Okay, now we have proportional representation in regards to there's 1 MP per, say, 500,000 people. Okay, so in a city of 1 million people, well, in our city, it's probably different. Anyways, in the city of Calgary, we have like 12, 13 ridings divided into different zones. So you go into your little zone and you vote for who you want to win, and because it's not a 2-party system like in the States, we have as many people as they want to run, that can run. So
yeah, I think you pay like $100 for municipal, for like your city elections, and you can be on the ballot.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do.
So if
you don't even have to show up for
anything,
debates. You just $100. Yeah, sure.
$100. You put your name on the ballot. You can go vote for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not 100% sure on the price.
I think you're about
it's
right.
about right. I think it's about $100. I'm not sure for like Premier of Alberta or Prime Minister of Canada if anybody can just go try and get it. But I think
no. For parties, you have to be a member of the party, and then you have to go through an election process.
That's what I think. That's where I think the system's a little bit broken. I think you should be able to just run on your own platform, run on your own. Me, if I want to go say, hey, I want to lead the country, and this is why, and I have good ideas, and people want to vote for me. Why can't I vote? Why can't I be prime minister or be premier? Right?
Well, that's the thing. In Canada, Britain, Australia, a few other places, whoever's the leader of the party that has the most seats in the House is the leader of the country.
Yeah.
It's not like the president of the United States.
I'll just hire people after. I'll be like, okay, you can join my party. What you're good at accounting? Okay, you can come run my books. Well, health? Come on, let's go.
Okay, there's always flaws to a system regardless of what type of system you have. In Canada, when you have elected members, when you have to pick a cabinet, you can only pick members from your party. Theoretically, you can pick members from the other party, but
that would be pretty silly if you did that.
Generally, it's not something that's ever done,
yeah.
But it is something that is capable, because whenever you have a coalition government, which is two parties working together to have a majority, the cabinet will be mixed from both parties. So the Liberals have done that before. With the
I
NDP.
think that's what you need to do. I think that's I'm not sure what Mr. Pretty Boy Selfie Trudeau wants to do. I'm not sure what his plan is I think he's just asking if we want to change it, right?
No, he's not even asking. What's happening is he put together a panel to come up with better ideas to do it. And what's happening is he's just going to use his majority to put it in place.
You know what I think? I think that when you sit there and you say majority, it's like 50 plus 1 is a majority, right?
Yeah.
I think majority needs to change to 2/3, 70%. So that way, when you have a majority, your majority government has to be bigger, number one. And if it's not enough to get, you have to work with other parties. That therefore you're working with everybody to get for the common good.
Okay, now, the reason why people are stating the first past the post system doesn't work is because the Liberals only won about 38% of the popular vote, but they have 65% of the seats in the House. So that is grossly
that's one thing I don't understand.
Over
popular vote, and they have how are they different?
Because of the first past the post system, if you have a two-party race, you basically your percentage of votes will be like 54-46, right? So you can have a majority in the House by just barely winning. In Canada, if you have 3 people running in a riding, you only need to get 34% of the votes, and you win.
See, that's ridiculous.
So that's why they're saying this first past the post system is kind of broken. When you win, if only 38% of the population votes for you and you win a majority in government, they're saying that's broken.
See, I think it's broken in more than one way. It's broken completely. It needs a complete overhaul. You're only getting, there's 35 million people in Canada, right?
Yep.
You're getting, what was it, 62%, 63% of voter turnout last federal election, somewhere in there. So you're only getting 2/3 of the population, so you're getting what? 17, 20, 22 million people coming out, something like that?
Yep.
Right? I guess it'd be like 24 million-ish, somewhere in there. So you're only getting that many people coming out to vote. Number one, I think you need more people to come out and vote. You need a way to get everybody involved.
True.
Should you make voting mandatory? No.
No,
because that's crap. Because then you got someone like myself who can't vote for anybody because I'm like I don't like any of the parties. I like pieces from every single one of them, and I go, can't we just like make a Frankenstein a monster? Because Frankenstein was the scientist who created the monster. But can't we just make like a hodgepodge, a Heinz 57 of all the parties and go? And that's why I think like. Majority governments are the best way to go, or not majority, minority governments are the best way to go, because then you need to band 2 parties or more together to come up with your idea. when you have a majority, it's like right now in Alberta, the NDP is just ramming taxes through on us, ramming minimum wage increases through on us, and it's like there's no resistance. It's like, imagine in your house, you're like, imagine if your significant other was like, we're doing this, I don't care what you want, and you're like, but I don't get a say. Like, we're having a threesome with another dude, and you're like, but what? Do I get one with a... No, too bad. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be communication from party to party, and the way we have it now, it just doesn't work. You know, I think here's my fix, my solution, because, you know, we know I'm right about everything. I think you need to have, to get better voter turnout, I think you need online voting. Technology.
I do agree with that. I think technology is at such a point where you
use your social insurance number as your ID, as the first line of defense, and then you create 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of defense to get into this, so that it's harder to hack, right? So that people can vote online. They don't have to go to... You save some money, because you don't have to set up polling stations. People can just do it from their phones, do it from their computers.
Polling stations.
Well, you can still have them, but
you're going to have older people, or just...
But you can have less polling stations.
Yes.
You can encourage people to do it online. Yeah. It's like the bank. When I see people at the bank, when I go to the bank like once a month, and I see people there with their bills, and I go, can't you just do that online? It still baffles me, because I pay all my bills online, and I'm like, that's weird.
For that matter, like tap. You know, the tap that we have up here in Canada.
Yeah, the card where you tap.
I'm just starting to realize, maybe I should have said yes instead of going, I don't know what it is, I don't want it. But so,
number 2, I think you need to increase what majority means. It can't just be 50 plus 1. I think it needs to be 65%. Because then you know that at least 2/3 of your population is in agreement.
Now in Canada we do have that ability. Like for the Brexit, it was literally a majority, 50% plus 1. When we had a referendum quite a few years back now for Quebec trying to leave, it literally was 50% plus 1. Now, since that referendum, Canada has changed some of the rules stating if Quebec is going to have a referendum, they have to have a 62%.
I think it should be like that in all aspects.
A good point. Maybe what we have is our system is broken. We understand this, but we all understand this. So there's no lying about it.
Do we understand it though?
No. All of us know that it's not the best system in the world.
You're never going to get perfection. You're
exactly.
Never gonna get it.
But I think a lot of us are pretty okay with it, because in the end, this is one thing that's really, really bad when you have minority governments, and this happens a lot in a lot of other countries. Is these minority governments, they have 40% of the House. Well, they need another 11% to be able to make it. So they have to team up with little parties, and what ends up happening is sometimes the minority governments are defeated regularly, and elections are held more often. So it is one thing about a minority government.
But then I think you get more choice. Another thing that I think that would be a good thing is a way for citizens, for us, is a way for us to say, hey, we want to call an election before your term is up.
Well, okay, that's what
an out clause, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, because I know that in Alberta right now, I know a lot of people are going, "Oops, we screwed up."
Yeah, we would love to have an out clause.
I think it would be. This is the perfect situation, because at the end of the 4 years, what's going to be left of Alberta? Mm-hmm. It's kind of a little bit worrisome.
Okay, and that's fine. It's like, you know what, maybe just our system needs a couple of tweaks. And you know what, in the situation that we are in right now, the Liberal government has enough people in the House that they could have that 2/3 majority, right? So it's not a big deal that they could do it. But like in some cases, winning 50% plus 1 isn't necessarily good enough. So maybe parties have to work together, which is never a bad thing.
I think that then you get I think that's the best way is when
and even then, at that point in time, a third party, for example, the NDP, would actually have a little bit more sway.
That's what I mean. It would give all the parties just a little bit more power to be like, hey, but the problem is that these parties are so set on their ideas, they're not willing to move. And it's like they have to, when you're a leader, and I'm sure I've said it before in our videos, check them out on YouTube. When you're a good leader, you have to be able to take everybody's ideas and consolidate them, whether it's liberal, conservative, monkey, cat, dog, you know what I mean? You have to be a good leader, you have to be able to get all these people to work together.
Yep.
And right now, it's like we have leaders who are just like, well, these are my party ideas, this is what we're doing. It's like, okay, hold on, back up the train here, put the brakes on, and just think about this through on reasons why things have been the way they are and why we haven't introduced things that you want to introduce. And you can tell us why you want to introduce them. It's like the debate, the conversation, boom, 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 back and forth, and then you come to a common ground.
Well, with social media that we do have, like Twitter, Facebook, it is easier to actually talk to these people directly. A lot more politicians nowadays have Twitter accounts. Mind you, they have a peon helping them with that Twitter account.
Yeah.
However, they still have one. So theoretically, you can pose a question to them, and then they can give you a non-evasive answer afterwards. So
I think, especially with technology, big things could be put to a vote via online, like things like, say, minimum wage, carbon tax in Alberta. Mayor Nenshi was saying that all Albertans want a tax increase or don't want a tax increase? I can't remember.
Oh, I think he said want.
We want. So
and it's like, no.
Why don't we put it out there via the Twitter, the Facebook, whatever, or your online voting account? Oh, look at that. You sign in, you go, would you like a property tax increase? Bam, no. Or bam, yes. And if you get 60% plus, then
now here's the thing. It's like one, not everybody's going to have the time to. The reason why we elect these people is so that their whole lives are dedicated towards doing these things. But to put everything to vote.
But how hard is it to pick up your smartphone or go on your computer? You're on your computer looking at videos or cat videos.
Okay. Hold on. The Brexit is a good example of this. It's like they actually interviewed one lady leaving the polling office, or the day after, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I voted.
Her vote would count."
Yeah, she's like, "I voted yes, we should leave because I didn't think my vote would count." Do you really want these people to be voting?
But they are voting for these people who are making our decisions already.
No, but that's that.
You know what I mean?
That is the point. It's like, yes, they are voting, but, they're not always educated, so they're not giving you the best vote that you're supposed to get. So that's the reason why we're these decisions over to
But they've proven time and time again that they're incompetent, that they're not able. They have the inability to make proper decisions.
Do you want the majority of stupid to run the country, or do you want?
It's already happening, dude. It's already happened. The majority of stupid is already happening. Why do you think we have an NDP government? Like, that's exactly what happened. That shows these people went in and said we're protest voting, and they weren't educated. They weren't. No, they weren't knowledgeable.
Look at what we have because of something.
But
like that.
I'm saying like you could put like we could put things to a vote of like you got art in like for projects and stuff. 1% of every art budget is for art, and it's like, well, that's
in Calgary. Whenever you have a major project,
you have to put 1%.
1% of it is towards art.
Which is crock. I think we've talked about this before. I think that we should. I don't know if have we talked about art.
Art.
I don't know. My solution to art is that if you want to, you put it out to local artists and say you want to give us us a piece of your work. We'll put it up. We'll put a plaque saying who it's from, and you can be there for the entire time. You give it just for free. We give you this advertising instead of us spending our money.
I do remember that conversation. Okay, so
we need to try something different. We've been doing it for
We can't go to a two-party system here in Canada.
That's fine. We don't have to.
I'm just saying. Now,
what about a 10-party system? I don't care.
No, it only ever gets more confusing from here. and this is the reason why. In British Columbia, they've had 2 referendums about changing the electoral system. Okay. In 2005, 42% voted against reform. So 58% voted for reform, which was 2% short of what they needed to change it. Now, in 2009, 61% voted against change. So it actually went up by like 20%.
So what do they want to change? That's what I want to know. Like, what's
this reading it hurt my head. Reading what they wanted to do. Their whole change was, we want to make every vote count. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was going to happen was, instead of having the current definition of where you elect people, the border, the boundaries would change. Okay, that's understandable. Boundaries are going to change. Yeah. But the thing is that a lot of rural areas were all suddenly, instead of having, like in Alberta, you have 3 cities. You have Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer, and there's a whole bunch of seats there. The rest of Alberta, there might be like 1 or 2 in Cochrane, and maybe 3, but like they're large
areas.
The more that you only have one person,
the less densely populated.
Exactly, less densely populated. Now, what would happen with this is those less densely populated areas would all become one, and then what would happen is, just say the northern half of Alberta, instead of having 5, would be one area where you vote in 3 people. And the way it would work is they want every vote to count. So what you would do is you would actually rank a vote and go, okay, I want the conservative PC.
So you go 1, 2, 3 or
1,
whatever.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what they would do is they would count.
So it's like
whoever your first vote for goes.
Whoever gets the majority of first place votes wins
1 seat. And then after that, because the person already counted, all the other votes for him doesn't count anymore, but your number 2 goes to whoever wins number 2, and then as soon as the number 2 wins, whoever goes to number 3. Now, a lot of people are saying that this skews everything, because at that point in time, well, your choice is Conservative, NDP. In Alberta, it's Conservative, NDP, and Wild Rose. Well, if nobody wants to vote NDP, well, they have to put them 3. So you go Wild Rose, PC, NDP.
I think
all of a sudden your Wild Rose guys gets in. Then all of a sudden all of the number 2s start going. So the people who normally have a chance all of a sudden get a bigger percentage of the pie because of that.
I think that our system is okay now, the way that we the vote.
No, okay. Your point of, instead of having a 50% plus 1, having a 2/3 majority. So 50% plus 1 is the way the world has worked that way for so long
that we have it ingrained in our minds.
Exactly.
50 plus 1 is a pass, and it's like, well, hold on.
Now, you're right. If you do a 65 or 66,
whatever, somewhere above
2/3.
2/3.
If you do that, at that point in time, right now the Liberal government has enough to do 2/3.
And
that's fine.
They won.
But just say they'd won 20 less seats. They don't lose the majority, so they never have to worry about failing as a government. But at that point in time, you have 20 seats towards the other parties, and you have to work for those 20 people to go.
You could also do it like on each case dependent. Like if there's like a tax reform or something like that, you could make it where you have to have an 80% majority. You have to have, you know what I mean? Because that's, when you're changing taxes or adding new taxes or anything like that, that's big. Like that affects everybody, and everybody's gonna weigh in on it, right? So if you have like an 80% where 80% of your politicians have to say yes for this bill to pass for tax increases or tax cuts or wage increases or anything like that. You know, I'll get to the wage thing in a second, but like taxes, I think if you go, okay, tax reform, we need 80%, then all the parties have to go, well, what are we going to do? Anything like that. Wages, I don't think that the politicians should be allowed to go, we're giving ourselves a raise.
No.
That should be put to like some sort of, do you think your politician deserves a raise?
Now, okay.
We should be able to go 1%, 2%, 0%.
I think that should be I think, one, in Canada, we should have more referendums. Now, with online voting capacities, you could have easier access to referendums. But in Canada, not once when I have voted have I ever had an extra question on the ballot saying, do you want this? Do you remember?
I haven't voted for
10
years.
There you go. So he doesn't remember at all. I don't. And I know in the States, they put a lot of things to referendums. A good example of putting something to a referendum would be fluoride in the water.
Maybe.
Wow.
I don't know.
The uneducated. Okay, the fluoride in water showed up as an issue within the past year because dentists are saying kids are suffering because there's no fluoride in the water. Now, there was a plebiscite quite a few years ago about putting fluoride in the water to help with tooth health. There we go. With tooth health. And they actually put it to a referendum in the city, and the city said yes. The voters said yes. Now, all of a sudden, based off of some fact fiction from scientists stating that fluoride is bad for your health, the city council said no, we're removing it. No taking it to the people, not taking it to the voters. They just said no, we're removing it. And I think it was within 2 years of them removing it, the science behind the study that they used to remove it.
Don't you get fluoride on your teeth when you're in school? Isn't that what they fucking make you bite down on?
Well, when you go to a dentist.
No, like even in school they did where they put shit on your teeth. Isn't that what that is?
Yes, but I don't remember them ever putting stuff on my teeth.
I can't remember where you bit down on it. It was like a gel.
Yeah,
what is that?
That's at a dentist.
Is it? Okay, maybe I was thinking different then.
No,
I thought they did something in school when I was in school.
No,
once
I remember them.
I know that they sent somebody. They did something to my kids' teeth at this school this year.
Really?
And I think it was fluoride.
Yeah, okay.
But see, like you sit there and you go, uneducated. It's like, no, that's not an issue to me. Like fluoride in our water, is it gonna kill me?
Well, no. But okay, you didn't know anything about it. That's what I'm
because it's to me that's like a non-issue. That's like so small potatoes that I'm like.
But it was big potatoes. It was a huge debate back in the day.
Bottom line, is it going to kill me? Is fluoride in my water going to kill me?
No.
Well, there you go. Well, what are we fighting about? Put it in there. Is it better for teeth?
Yeah, but that's the thing is the council couldn't decide, so they put it to the voters, and the voters said yes, and then all of a sudden they got on their high horse, going, "Oh, well, according to this scientific study, it's bad for you, so we're going to take it out," without talking to the voters first, and the voters all unanimously agree.
Yeah, and right there should be the ability. That's an example of the ability for us as a society to go, hold on, you didn't do what we asked. It's time for you to go. It's time for you to get out. You went against what we voted for.
So that would be something of if you were able to get online voting to work.
Easier, yeah.
If you could get it to work, at that point in time, you could easily have a recall function on your personal setting. And at some point in time, if you didn't like what your MP did, you can hit the recall button. And if it hits...
if it hits like an 80% recall or 85% recall, you go, oh, it's time for an election.
Yeah,
the citizens are calling an election. Boom, we have an election.
Or at the very least, the MP now has to be recalled to his
constituents.
There we go, that word,
and has to answer to them.
And exactly, he has to have a sit down in a room with a whole bunch of mad people going, "Why are you doing this? This is not what we voted you in for."
We're using a system that was written hundreds of years ago. Mm-hmm. In today's society. Imagine if we were still driving Model T cars.
It would be
weird.
No, but if we were always driving Model T cars,
but we had the ability to make them better, right? That's what. Sorry, I should finish my thought. In my brain, it made sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Imagine we're driving.
If we knew we could build better cars and we're still driving Model Ts, yes.
Then that's a little bit weird. Let us know what you guys think about
we
our.
Challenge any politician who has listened to this. You know, it's like maybe the system isn't as broken as we think. It just needs to be updated. And you know what? Online opinions they
matter. That's where everybody gives their opinions. Look at Facebook.
Let us vote online.
Unfortunately, we have to let the dummies vote, and everybody gets to vote. Everybody wants their say, then put it online. Because I guarantee you, especially the younger generation, they'll come in. They'll be more likely, yeah. And there are ways to make it so you don't get your shit hacked. You could put layers upon layers of security. Somebody's going to hack it, but you can put layers upon layers upon layers.
Even if you put layers upon layers, someone's going to hack it anyways. It's just a matter of what you do after it's hacked.
So, let us know what you guys think. Comments below on our YouTube video. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/CoullDiscussions. Twitter, @CoullDiscussion. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for giving us some of your time. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.
See ya.